What's going on, guys? blinkFRO here, and today I'm bringing you week 9 of our Seattle Seahawks franchise. This is the bye week. As you can see, we're undefeated at 8-0, so clearly we're in first place of everyone. And we're just going to take a quick look at a couple things. Hopefully I remember some of this stuff. So we're going to take a look at the yearly award races. Drew Brees is leading for MVP, and we got Chris Clemons in there, surprisingly, with his amazing amount of sacks. You'll see that in a second. Then we got Drew Brees going for Offensive Player of the Game. Andy Dalton trailing him. Chris Clemons for Defensive Player of the Year, clearly. And Justin Tuck with a surprising season over on the Bengals. They just acquired him in the offseason. You're going to see he wasn't playing much for the Giants. And now on the Bengals, he has 9 sacks and halfway through the season. And you're going to see, if I go over to general stats, like I said, actually the Giants did play him a lot. He was just mainly the backup. Then for offensive rookie, we got Andrew Luck, who's not really having a great year. 5 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, and we're going to be playing him on the week 17, the last game of the season. Not doing that great, but he is leading for the rookies, offensive rookie of the years. Then you got Michael James in there. He really hasn't been doing too much, but he's in there. And then you got Van Bergen and Cho. I don't even know how I can never say this last name. I feel like the Cardinals have 2 guys with that last name now. Leading for defensive rookies, best quarterback. I don't understand how Drew Brees would be MVP and not be the best quarterback, but Aaron Rodgers is leading, trailed by Cam Newton. Best running back, Jamal Charles, then Frank Gore. Wide receiver goes to Lance Moore. I believe he has 8 touchdowns about halfway through the season, yes. And Doug Baldwin is second. You'll see his stats later when I take a look at the team stats. Jahari Evans is the best offensive lineman, trailed by Nick Mangold. Best defensive lineman, no surprise, Chris Clemons, trailed by Justin Tuck. Also, Carlos Dunlap for the Bengals. The Bengals have 3 really good, I think the Michael Johnson, I don't know what his first name, Johnson is also having an amazing season for the Bengals. The Bengals are having a surprising season this year. As you saw, Andy Dalton was one of the best quarterbacks. And they have 2 really good defensive linemen in for the best DL race. And then best linebacker, Terrell Suggs, who in real life would be out for this whole season, or most of the season, trailed by DeMarcus Ware. And we also have David Hawthorne in there. Best defensive back, Tim Jennings, having a surprisingly good season. Went over to Detroit after being on Chicago for 2 years, and he already has 4 interceptions about halfway through the season, not getting much done tackle-wise. Here's a couple other players. Best kicker, Josh Brown. We've only missed 1 kick with him so far, and I don't understand how Rob Baronis is not best kicker because he has yet to miss a field goal. Maybe it's just because he hasn't attempted too many from outside. 3 of 3 from 50. We'll take a look at Josh Brown's in a little bit. And Coach of the Year leading is Pete Carroll, trailed by Tom Coughlin. 8-0. As you can see, the second best teams are 6-1 or 6-2. Alright, so that is it for season stats. We don't really need to take a look at the yearly awards, I should say. We don't really need to take a look at weekly. We'll take a look at the Seattle Seahawks represented in the Pro Bowl voting right now. We have Josh Brown for kicker, Hawthorne for middle linebacker, Clemons for defensive lineman, or defensive end, I should say. The newly acquired Brooks Reed is in there for outside linebacker. Doug Baldwin for wide receiver, Russell Okung for tackle. Brandon Mebane, I can never say his name right, for defensive tackle. And then you got LaRon McClain, the newly acquired fullback, for the fullback, obviously. And that's it for the Seattle Seahawks so far. Marshawn Lynch is not in there because he has been injured most of the season. And we don't have a kick returner, which is a little upsetting because we had Leon Washington represent us last year. But as you guys know, he is released from the team. And if we take a look at the injury report, Marshawn Lynch out for 3 weeks, Richard Sherman out for 7 weeks. And then we'll just take a quick look at the major injuries around the league. Just scroll through it real quick. Thomas Davis, a big hit for the Panthers. Anquan Boldin, a big hit for the Ravens. Wow. Joey Porter, he is old, but he's still good. Big hit for the Bills. Then you got Audric, a big hit for the Dolphins. I believe he is really good. Kevin Walter, not a big deal, but he is kind of a hit for the Patriots. They have a ton of wide receivers in this season. And like I said, 2 guys have this last name on the Cardinals. They're without him. Brett Kiesel is a big hit for the Steelers. Kelvin Shepard, I believe, is pretty good. It's a big hit for the Cowboys. Just scrolling down a little bit more. Austin Collie out for 9 weeks. And I think that's really going to wrap it up for the players that are out that are impacting the teams the most. Calvin Pace, Marshall Newhouse out for the Packers. Robert Griffin, this is the offensive lineman. The rookie is out for 6 weeks. Sean Merriman out for the Jets. Mike Thomas out for the Jaguars. Dwight Freeney out for 5 weeks for the Colts, which is a pretty big hit. Kenny Phillips out for the Giants. Vernon Davis out 4 weeks for the 49ers. And Darren McFadden out 4 weeks for the Raiders. Not really surprised since he gets injured a lot. Fred Davis out for the Redskins. We still have Marshawn Lynch, who's been a big hit for us, but we've been able to manage without him. And James Harrison's out for 3 weeks. And the thing I didn't know about James Harrison, he was undrafted when he entered the league, which is pretty insane because he's one of the best players in the NFL, one of the best linebackers in the NFL, I should say. LaShawn McCoy out for the Eagles. Eli Manning out for the Giants, even though they're still, I think, 6-1 without him. I don't know how many games he's been out. We'll just take a quick look at that. Season stats. Season stats. So he's just got injured the last game. So he managed to get 4 of 6, 78 yards and a touchdown before going down with a broken thumb. That's going to suck because they already had their bye week, so they're going to be missing him for 3 weeks. I think that's about it. We'll take a look. I hate how this thing keeps popping up. We'll take a look at the season stats. Stats Hub. We'll go to season stats. We'll look at standings real quick. NFL. The leaders in the NFL. We'll just break it down by NFC and AFC. Seahawks 8-0. Giants 6-1. Lions 5-2. Panthers 5-2. Redskins 5-2. Packers 5-2. Then we have a couple teams at 4-3. And we'll just scroll down it real quick, not really saying much about it. Last but not least, we have the Bears 0-7, Buccaneers 1-6, and Vikings 2-5. Taking a look at the AFC, Chiefs 6-1, Bengals 6-2, Jaguars 5-2. So those are some 3 teams that you wouldn't really expect to be in the playoffs, even though the Bengals made it last year, in real life, I should say. Colts 5-2, since they still have Peyton Manning. Patriots 4-3, Chargers 4-3, Raiders 4-4, Bills 4-4, Titans 4-4. And as we scroll down, you're just going to see a couple teams. Jets not really having a great season. Texans not having a good season. And the Steelers, surprisingly, are 2-6, having a horrible season. And the Browns, really no surprise, 1-7 there, even though they should be doing a little bit better. So that's it for the standings. Taking a look at the season stats in the NFL. We're going to take a look at passing. The league leader in QB rating, Cam Newton, followed by Aaron Rodgers. Yards is Drew Brees, leading by a lot over Andy Dalton and Aaron Rodgers. Drew Brees has 16 touchdowns, leading the league. Dalton, Cutler, both tied for 15. Most interceptions, Kevin Cobb, 12 interceptions compared to his 8 touchdowns. Followed by Andrew Luck, Ben Roethlisberger, maybe that's why they're not doing so hot. David Garrard, who I believe is starting for the Redskins. Philip Rivers, Josh Freeman, all tied with 8. I think that's it for quarterbacks. The most sacked quarterback in the league is Jay Cutler. That's not really a surprise there. Taking a look at rushing, most attempts goes to Jamal Charles, then Rashard Mendenhall, and Maurice Jones-Drew. Leading the league in yards, Jamal Charles, followed by Frank Gore, then Javid Best. Leading the league in most yards per carry, CJ Spiller, and I don't believe he is the starter, so they should really start using him more. Darren McFadden, Toby Gerhart, surprisingly, 5.2, and Frank Gore. Leading the league in touchdowns, Jamal Charles, followed by Roy Halou, Steven Jackson, Adrian Peterson, McFadden, Bush, and Gore, all tied for 5. Bush is now in the Patriots. If you remember, I believe he's the starting running back for the Patriots. Most fumbles, Jamal Charles, so I don't understand how he's in the running for best running back. That's a lot of fumbles for a running back. 6? That is ridiculous. And Mikel LaShore has 5. That's, wow. If you remember, LaShore had a couple carries against us last week when we faced the Bears. Looking at receptions, Roddy White and A.J. Green tied with 53 receptions. Most yards goes to A.J. Green, followed by Steve Smith, then Kenny Britt, Larry Fitzgerald, Roddy White. We don't have any players up in here, in any of these categories, I should say. And touchdowns, Lance Moore, followed by Doug Baldwin. Finally, a Seahawks on the board. Taking a look at blocking, like I said, not too many people care about pancakes, but we got Arkin, David Joseph, Jeff Schwartz, Whitworth. I wonder if we have anyone here. Nope, not really. Okay, so, who allows the most sacks? Chris Myers, Sandling, Whitworth, Copen, Ferguson, Berkershaw Ferguson. None of our guys up there, which is good. Defensive Most solo tackles, Lamar Woodley, followed by Von Miller. Von Miller, very good defensive linebacker, I should say. Total tackles goes to Lamar Woodley, followed by Nick Barnett, one of my favorite linebackers, former Packer right there, Pat Angerer, Von Miller, Joe Mays. Tackle for a loss, Chris Clemens has 20 tackles for a loss, followed by KJ Wright, followed by DeMarcus Ware, Brooks Reed, David Hawthorne. Like I said, something needs to be fixed. We get into the backfield way too often. Those sliders need to be changed. If we have most of our players leading in that category, especially Chris Clemens leading the next best on a different team by 10, that is ridiculous. Sacks, Chris Clemens has 14.5 sacks, on pace for 29 sacks on the season, followed by Justin Tuck 9, DeMarcus Ware 8, Carlos Dunlap with 7. Interceptions, we have Antoine Winfield with 5, Stanford Routt with 4, Tremont Williams 4, Tim Jennings 4, and Eric Weddle with 4, as well as Aqib Talib, I still can't say his name correctly, 4, and Joe Hayden 4. Then taking a look at interception yards, Quentin Washington, the rookie out of USF on the Bears, has 95 interception yards on only 2 interceptions, so that is an average of what, 42.5? Wow, 47.5. Got that wrong. Okay, need to go back to school, learn some math. Interception long, Sam Shields, 74. Deflections, we usually lead. Oh, wow. There's a bunch of different players in here. I thought usually the user-controlled team is always up in the top. But Brandon Browner leading with 10, tied with Chris Houston. And you have Marcus Trufant with 8 there. Forced fumbles, Chris Harris has 4. James Anderson has 3, Asante Samuel has 3, and Antoine Barnes has 3. Fumble recoveries, no one really cares about, but Chris Johnson has 4. Must have been his own fumbles, maybe. Field goal blocks to Marcus Van Dyke, who won us the game, if you remember. Sherrod Martin, Captain Monerlin, I can't say his last name. So the Panthers have 2 guys with blocked field goals, Steve Gregory and Chris Harris. Safeties, Mark Herzlich, I don't know how to say his last name, Stephen Gilmore, Ndamukong Suh. Ndamukong Suh, if you remember, those were against us. Stephen Nicholas and Khalees Campbell. And then touchdowns, you have Stanford Routt and Mike Jenkins tied for 2. And then kicking, like I said, Rob Baronis hasn't missed a field goal. He's 21 of 21, and we're only 19 of 20. I don't know how we're considered a better kicker than him, but it might have to do with extra points. He's made 12 of 12. Maybe it's because we have 11 more extra points attempted than him and made. And for field goals attempted past 50 yards, Carson Wiggs, the rookie out of Purdue, with 7, only made 4. Josh Brown, 6 of 6, so maybe that's why we're in the running, or why we are in the top kicker position, whatever. Josh Brown with 32 touchbacks, Matt McBride with only 1. So I guess when it simulates it, you know, it doesn't really, the teams don't really get touchbacks. And Matt Dodge went from the Giants to the Bears, and he is on a cold streak. Just thought I'd mention that. Punting, average yards, John Ryan, my man, former Packer right there on our team, the Seattle Seahawks. I don't know how he's not leading for the punter in the Pro Bowl, but it is what it is. Maybe it's because we don't punt as often as other teams. As you can see, we only have like 29 punts or something like that. Yeah. No one has a blocked punt, which is good. Touchbacks, Scrifes, no, it's not really good. Inside the 20, Brett Hartman out of Central Michigan, 24 inside the 20, which is a very good stat right there. And the longest punt of the season goes to TJ Conley, 77-yard punt, and Matt Bosher with 74-yard punt, which is very, very good. Alright, kick return. We'll just take a look at touchdowns, known as a kick return for touchdown. And Eddie Royal has 2 kick returns for touchdown. Torrey Smith, James Rogers, the rookie out of Oregon State, and Josh Cribbs all have 1 kick return for touchdown. And now we're just going to take a look at our team stats. Passing, we'll go with yards. Matt Flynn, 1,515 yards. Kellen Moore, 25 yards. And Terrell Pryor, -4 yards. 7 touchdowns, 5 interceptions from Matt Flynn. We haven't really thrown too many touchdowns this season. And he has been sacked 13 times. Terrell Pryor 2 times, so that's pretty good for our team. Rushing, we have Marshawn Lynch still leading the league, leading the team in rushing yards with 370 on 4.5 yards per carry. LaMichael James, 239 on 4.6 carries. He had 2 fumbles last game, which was horrible. LT on 226 on 4.1 yards per carry. Noel Devine, 98 on 10 carries, 9.8 yards per carry. Noel Devine is just having a monster season. It was just mainly from that one game. LaRon McClain, 21 rushes, 2 touchdowns. As you can see, Marshawn Lynch leading our team in touchdowns, followed by Michael James and LT. Noel Devine and LaRon McClain both have 2, and Justin Blackman has a rushing touchdown there. So receiving, we have Baldwin, followed by Blackman, Williams, Chad Johnson, Zach Miller, Dwight Jones, who we still haven't played. These are his stats from the Texans. I think he's from the Texans. John Carlson, Michael James, LT, LaRon McClain. A lot of people getting the ball on our team, but Doug Baldwin leading the way. We have pretty balanced attack right there in the receiving game. Blocking, John Moffitt with 3 pancakes. As you can see, is the team captain, but he allows 4 sacks, the most on our team, which is kind of bad. Defensive side of the ball, total tackles, Hawthorne with 54, Brooks Reed with 40, good pickup for our team in my opinion. Chris Clemens with 36, Cam Chancellor with 31, KJ Wright with 30, tackles for a loss, we looked at this earlier, Chris Clemens with 20, KJ Wright with 13, Brooks Reed with 9, sacks 14.5 for Chris Clemens. Brandon Mebane and KJ Wright both tied for 4, Hawthorne and Paya have 3, Brooks Reed and Cam Chancellor and Mark Herzlich both have 2. We haven't played him in quite a while. Lofa Tatupo has 1. Waite has 1. Tony Hargrove has 1. And there should be a couple guys with half a sack, maybe. Nope. Then looking at kicking, we looked at punting, we looked at kick return. Chris Johnson is averaging 21.1 yards per return. Punt return 5.1. And he has a long of 24 and a long of 21, so we need to upgrade there. And I think that's going to wrap things up for us right now. I think I went through just about everything on our team, or about our team, everything important. I remember last season, I missed out on a couple things. We'll take a look at Hall of Fame, see if anyone got inducted. Rondé Barber, Ray Lewis, and Jason Taylor all went in 2012. I'm not sure if I showed you that. Yeah, Jason Taylor, right? Yeah, okay. And that's gonna wrap this video up. This is quite a long video, 17 minutes long, just about. Probably a little bit over. But next week we are facing off against, I will show you in just a second, team schedule. We're going up against the Buffalo Bills, who are 4-4. We're 8-0. This is the remainder of our schedule. Nothing too tough. Maybe the Bills will be a tough matchup. Packers will be tough. 49ers will be tough. Falcons might be tough. Other than that, I think we're going to have a good season. Probably expecting to finish off with 14 or 15 wins. We could go undefeated, but we've had a lot of close games. We just got to pull it out in the 4th quarter. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And as always, thanks for watching, and tune in next time.